Hello everyone, my name is Havian and today I'm going to be playing some more Sword Art Online Lost Song. This time I'm going to be going through all of the different elemental attacks, all of the offensive elemental magic that you can use in the game. I'm going to be going through all of the different ones, and I'm going to be using Seven because she is the only character that can actually use every single elemental offensive magic attack in the game. I believe all Pukas will be able to do it, but since she's a Puka, she's the only part of the main cast that can actually do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. First I'm going to start with the fire spells. So you got Fire 1, 2 and 3, and they're called Fireball, Flame Blast and Meteor Explosion. I'm going to first start off with Fireball. Every time you level up magic, or every time you get magic to a certain level, they'll increase in different parameters. So for Fireball, every time you get it to certain levels, it'll increase in power and it'll increase the amount of fireballs you can actually fire. So I'm going to go ahead and use these test dummies now to fire some fireballs. If you keep tapping the button, you will shoot multiple fireballs. So let me go ahead and just keep shooting them. So this fireball spell isn't actually very high level. You can see that it's increasing in level on the side. At the moment, it's only reached level 20. This is a skill that I haven't used many times, but once you've got the skill to roughly around level 100, then you'll be able to shoot more fireballs. But each level you actually get it up. Each level you actually increase will increase the amount of damage it should do. Next one I'm going to do is Flame Blast. So I'm going to wait for these ones. I'm going to wait for a few of these enemies to respawn. So Flame Blast, you can lock on with this skill. Every time you gain levels, after every few levels, you will increase. This will increase in power as well, and it'll increase the amount you can actually shoot. So I'm going to go ahead and fire it off. So if you hold down the spell, you can move your controller around and you'll be able to lock onto multiple enemies. So I've got 4 in target at the moment. When you release it, she'll shoot it at multiple targets. Let me see if I can get all 4 locked on. Let's see. Okay, at the moment I can only shoot 3. So I guess I need to increase this level. And I'm missing them. Let me go fly. Let me fly a little bit. But yeah, this one is Flame Blast. The more you increase it, I reckon after every 100 levels or so, then you'll be able to increase the amount of fireballs you can actually shoot out. Then the final fire magic is called Meteor Explosion. This one doesn't gain anything special after a few levels. It only really increases in the amount of power it has. But this is the level 3 magic, and it does cause quite a bit of damage. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it. This magic does hit twice. I don't know if it will show both hits when I'm shooting at these guys, because they have pretty low HP, but let's give it a shot. Oh, there we go. It hit one of them twice. Or at least got to see it hit one of them twice. Maybe you hit that one twice. There are ways you can increase the amount of damage you do with these spells. Well, obviously by leveling it up and by using the magic attack enhancing spells or items. You can increase the amount of damage you're able to do them. Or if you're the race that actually has enhancements to certain elements, you'll be able to, Salamander for example, if you're using a Salamander and you use the battle skills that have fire damage increase, you'll be able to increase the amount of damage you can actually do with them. Okay, so that was all the fire magic. I'm going to move on to the water magic now. Let me set those. So you got 1, 2 and 3. So the first water spell is Ice Bullet. Every few levels you'll be able to get a power increase, and it'll increase the amount of shots you can fire. So I'm going to go ahead and use that now. If you increase it, at the moment it is level 1. Or wait, now it's level 5. So it's still at the beginning. But the more levels you actually gain, the more you'll actually be able to fire out. Or the more times you'll actually be able to shoot it. Just like Fireball, but at the moment you can only shoot it once. After about 100 levels or so, then you'll be able to increase. Then you'll be able to shoot out more shots. Next skill is, or the next magic attack is Freeze Lance. You can lock on with the skill. After every few levels or so, it increases in power and it will increase in the amount of shots you can fire as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use that now. This skill, this magic, I had it on Asuna when I was playing in single player, but it's not that great. Oh no, I was playing through the story. It's not that great because the targets can actually just walk out the way. On stationary bosses it can be effective, but for the most part the enemies can just walk right out of it. But the last skill that I can actually show you is Absolute Zero. This is the level 3 magic. It's crazy powerful. It's a really strong spell. Let me see if I can round these guys up a little bit so I can actually show you a little bit better. So let me see if I can get these a little bit. Let me try and get them into a line. It's probably not going to happen. You know what? This is good enough. But with levels, this one will increase in power. Goodbye. Disintegrated. Evaporated. Or frozen. Nated. They're gone. But yeah, each level you gain with that one will just increase the power of the spell. But you can actually cancel the cast. You can cancel after you've casted the spell, you can cancel the animation and you can just spam the attack. It's probably not effective to spam that spell in particular because it does cost quite a bit of MP. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Alright, let's get this spell going. So if you guard just after you've done the animation, then you can cancel it and you can start casting another spell. But it does consume a lot of MP. There are better spells for you to cancel out of that actually do. It can rack up a lot of damage depending on what you're actually fighting. But that's it for the water spell. So I'm going to move on to the wind ones. Let's get the wind ones in there. Let me top up my MP regeneration spell. So wind. This wind is a bit of an interesting element. So I'm going to get away a little bit. So you've got 3 different spells. You've got Wind Car, you've got Tornado Cannon, you've got Tyrant Hurricane. The first spell, Wind Car, you can increase it. It increases in power after every few levels or so. You can increase the amount of shots you can fire and you can increase the amount of blades you shoot out. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So I've increased the level of this a little bit so I can shoot out a ton. So I'm gonna try and shoot when I'm not locked onto anything so you can see. The amount of blades you can actually fire out will increase with every 100 levels or so. As will the amount of times you can shoot. At the moment I've got up to 3 shots. But if you just keep increasing the level, then you'll be able to shoot out more and more blades will actually come out. Next spell is Tornado Cannon. I'm gonna go ahead and lock onto this enemy here. This is one of the spells that you can actually target multiple enemies and you can fire at multiple enemies. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. With levels on this spell, it will increase in power and increase the amount of shots you can actually fire out. And then you got the final spell, which is Tyrant Hurricane. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Let's see if I can get a good angle. This one just increases all of the level 3 methods just increase in power when you increase their levels. But the power gains can actually be pretty big. Alright, so the next element is Earth. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to Earth spells now. Let me get them on there. I'm gonna put 1 on there. I'm gonna put 3 on there, and I'm gonna put 2 on here. So with Earth, you got Slingstone, you got Rock Blast, and you got Death Rock Cluster. With Slingstone, every few levels or so, you'll gain a power increase. You might be able to shoot more stone bullets, and you'll be able to increase the amount you can actually fire out. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. Look at all of them bullets go. And I believe this is only level 300 or so. So every 100 levels or so, you'll be able to increase the amount you can actually shoot out, and you'll be able to increase the amount of bullets you can fire out as well. So I want to see what this is like at level 1000. I want to see how many bullets you can just fire out. It may not look like it's dealing a lot of damage, but if you stack on other things on top of your base, because I'm not using anything that enhances my magical damage. So if you were to stack on a few things, you'll be able to pump out a lot of damage with these spells, even though they don't look like they're hitting too much or too often. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll rack up. I want to get it to 1000 just to see how much damage it can actually do. Next spell is Rock Blast. This one is a spell that you can actually lock on with. Increasing the level, increase the power, it will increase the amount of shots you can fire, and it will increase the amount of bullets you can fire out as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock on to a few targets and go. It's a bit like the spell that the Stone Boss uses on you, but this is the one that you can use yourself. This is roughly around level 200 or so, so I can shoot out double the amount of rocks I could do before. But just like the ice spell, the enemies can walk right out of the way of that spell. So it's probably not the best. And then the final spell for Earth is Death Rock Cluster. As it's a level 3 spell, it will increase in damage the higher the level it is. So I'm going to go ahead and fire it off of one of these things. It is pretty powerful, honestly. It hits multiple times, but on these enemies, it's gonna look like it only hits once because they die in one hit. But I will show you what these spells work, how these spells work in an actual real fight, so you're able to see the amount of damage they can really do. See if I can get another one. All right, next set of magic. This is moving on to the holy magic now. Let's get that one in there, let's get that one in there, and let's get that one in there. So Holy's cool. Holy is actually cool. I want to drop down to the ground for this one. So with Holy, you've got Lightning Arrow, you've got Holy Lance, and you've got Divine Ray. With Lightning Arrow, if you increase the level, you'll be able to increase the amount of power it has, you'll be able to increase the amount of shots you can fire out, and you'll be able to increase the amount of lightning arrows you can shoot. So I'll go ahead and show you that. At the beginning, you'll only be able to fire out 3 at a time, but I've increased the level enough so 5 bullets actually appear. But this is roughly like level 200 or so, so it's not really that high level. So once he gets to how much higher level, I'm expecting loads and loads of arrows to actually pop up when you start casting. Hopefully. It went from 3 to 5, so hopefully at level 1000 it's probably have like 10 or 11, 15, 20. Alright, next spell is Holy Lance. This one is, I'm going to get away from these enemies so I can actually show you something, a little trick with this. So as I was speaking about the magic cancelling, this is probably one of the better spells for it. I'm not going to actually tell you what it's used for. I'm going to leave you to go and figure out what spells or what enemies this will be useful against. But I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what this spell is. So I'm going to just cast it normally once. And you'll see exactly what it is. Let me just get my MP regeneration on. And now I'm going to actually do my spam casting or the magic cancelling. So if you cancel or use block just as you fire it out, then you'll be able to start casting another animation to get it going again. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. If you keep an eye on the MP, you'll see that I'm using hardly any MP. But the damage from this, I think I'm probably getting like 2 or 3 to stack over each other. So depending on what enemy you're actually fighting, this could probably rack up a ton. If it's an enemy that doesn't move around too much, you'll be able to do a lot of damage. But that being said, each hit doesn't hit for a lot. They probably hit for like 30 to 40 at the moment with no buffs on. But I'm pretty sure if you're to use any enhancement items or spells that increase the amount of damage, you're able to rack up a lot of damage because it does hit a lot of times in that. So you're probably looking at about 30 to 40 damage, and then it's probably hitting about 10-20 times maybe. It's probably an exaggeration, but when it all stacked over, it's gonna hit. It's gonna hit a lot of times. Probably will be hitting 20 to 30 times when you got like 3 stacked over each other. Okay, so that was Holy Lance. Next is Divine Ray, which is the level 3 spell. This spell is powerful, but at the same time, the enemies can walk out the way of it sometimes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it on this one. Oh, it's noticed me. I actually want to do it on ones that do notice me actually, because I'll be standing in the same position. Let me get you. light from the heavens above. It does hit multiple times, but you won't actually see it when I'm fighting these guys because low level. But I will show you some of the other spells when they're high level. But moving on to the dark spells, which are actually my favorite spells. Well, give or take a few. There's some that suck. Oh boy, there's some that suck. Or actually, I should say there's one that sucks. Out of all of the spells in the game, I found that the first... Well, so I'll tell you the three different dark spells. You got Dark Sphere, you got Void Distortion, and you got Dimensional Abyss. Dark Sphere seems to have been the spell that takes the longest to actually level up for me. I'm going to go ahead and fire it off. At the moment I can fire 2 shots because I've increased the level a bit, but you can see how slow they actually move. Yeah, so actually trying to increase the level of this can take a long time just because the spell is just so slow. I mean, you've got your casting time, then you've got to wait for them to actually connect with the enemy. Compared to the other spells, it's slow. It doesn't mean it can't be leveled up in a decent pace, but the other spells just level up way faster than this one. Next spell is Void Distortion. This is a skill that you can actually lock on. Oh, Dark Sphere increases in power and increases the amount of shots you can actually fire when you level it up. And with the Holy Spells, I may have forgotten to say it, but Holy Lance and Divine Ray just get a power increase. They don't get anything else. Okay, Void Distortion. It locks on. Let it go. When it first hits the enemy, it has an initial burst, and then it deals damage over time for anyone that's standing in the bubble. It doesn't last for too long, but it can be effective in increasing your union bar. If you just pay attention to the union bar and see how much it goes up because of all the hits you're getting. See if I can actually get these two. You actually saw it ticking up. If you're fighting an enemy that's not moving, or if you're fighting an enemy that has much more HP, you can charge your union bar so quick using that magic spell. So quick. Okay, so the final spell is Void Distortion. Increases in power, it increases the amount of shots you can fire when you level it. And Dimensional Abyss is the level 3 dark spell. And Dimensional Abyss is probably my favorite spell in the game, honestly. It's a beast, and I'll show you exactly why it is a beast in a sec. So Dimensional Abyss. So it probably doesn't look like much, it probably just looks like a huge black ball. But I'm going to show you exactly why this spell is beast. And one more time, or one more again. Delicious. That spell increases in power the amount of, well, if you level it a few more times, or each time you level it, it'll increase in power. But it does get very powerful. It starts off pretty weak, but it gets insanely powerful the higher level you actually have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to stay 7, I'm going to probably stay solo. I'm going to go into a dungeon and just show you like the first floor of one of the dungeons, just so you can see what magic can actually do inside of there and how effective it actually is. Okay, so right now I've entered the dungeon. It may look a bit dark, so I apologize, but I'm going to be playing as, I'm just going to be going through the first floor solo. At first, I wasn't really a believer in magic until I started playing the 7. I'm a believer. I believe in magic right now. I'm going to be rolling with level 3 dark and level 3 ice. So I'm going to be rolling with Absolute Zero and Dimensional Abyss. Let me get my buffs on. I'm using a mace at the moment because I like to have high defense on 7. And I don't have any sword skills on the mace because sometimes it gets in the way of me actually casting these magic spells. So I just don't bother putting it on. Alright, MP regeneration, damage up. HP regeneration song. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually start dealing damage, and you'll see. The only thing I've actually got on the mace is MP regeneration. My 7 at the moment. My 7's she's level 969. I haven't got to a level 1000 yet because lazy. But I'm using a weapon that has MP regeneration. The main reason is because you can actually hit the enemy and gain MP back. Yep, that is one of the buffs or one of the perks they actually added to the weapons in the 2.0 update. So there is a way to regenerate MP now. If you get yourself a decent weapon, with MP regeneration. I just throw it on anyone that uses a lot of MP skills. And it seems like weapon damage doesn't seem to have an influence on magic attack, or at least from what I've seen so far. So I'm not too worried about the amount of damage I've got as long as it's just got MP regeneration on there when I hit enemies. So enough talking. I'm going to show you what the kind of damage you can output with this. I mean, you don't need, if you're running dungeons on 7, you don't really have to do much. Like, your spells do all the work. And if you magic cancel, then you can start casting on different targets instead of having to wait for the animation to finish. Whoops. And if you don't actually target an enemy, you start casting on yourself, which is bad. That's not the best thing. Look at that, it's silly. 7 is silly. But 7 is not the only one that can use this magic spell. Yuki can use it as well, and it seems like she does more damage with it because she's got bonuses to dark magic spells. But at the same time, 7 does have more buffs that increase the amount of damage you can actually do with magic. But if you give this buff to Yuki, she'll be able to do loads of damage. Alright, let's see what's in the next room. So I'm going to use Absolute Zero now, just to show you what that's like. So those enemies are actually resistant to ice, but you can still see that it kills them, no problem. And difficulty wise, at the moment I'm playing this on normal, but even if I was playing this on hard, 7 would still one-shot everything with these spells. So increasing the difficulty, the only thing that would, well, it wouldn't really do much. It would just increase the amount of damage I take if I do get hit. It's silly. It is just silly. At first I thought, well, sword skills, I reckon it's kind of balanced because sword skills, they do deal a lot of damage from the offset. With magic, you actually need to level them up quite a bit before they actually start being really effective. So you have to put the work in if you want to be powerful when it comes to magic. Alright, now I need to get my MP back up a little bit. Or I can actually start meleeing enemies. If I start meleeing enemies, you'll see that my MP starts spiking a little bit. It's very slight. I mean, you don't get a great deal of MP back. But it's enough. It's enough. It's enough to give you something to do while waiting for your MP to actually regenerate, because you can actually make it go back a little bit faster. I would say that sword skills are more effective against bosses in comparison to magic, because sword skills can pretty much down bosses or stationary targets really quick, but for just trash, magic just tears it up. Magic is the trash killer. Or just the random enemies that are just around. Alright, so this floor is almost done. There are some switches in this floor that you can actually skip, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I don't actually need to step on everything. No need to step on them all. There's like a switch at the back of this room. I can just run past like everything and step on the switch. There's nothing to run past. Oh, and there they are. There they are. I'll grab the loot though. Give me some of that. Give me some of that goodness. Alright, so now we've reached the boss room, so I'm gonna go ahead and buff up and enter it. Get some MP in there? I can't remember what boss is inside of it. I really don't remember. It's probably one of the Hydra enemy types. But I'm gonna go ahead and, I guess I'll find out. Oh, god damn it, it's a dragon. I'm sick of these guys. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is use this spell to just get rid of all the enemies that are nearby. Just clear the place. I'm going to clear the place of enemies, then I'll focus on the dragon itself. But the cool thing about 7 is she's got HP regeneration songs, so I don't really need to do too much healing on myself. I can just pop a quick regeneration and just keep on moving. I'm just gonna cancel chain this boss. Cancel chain. Ah man, I cancelled too early. It's best that when you see the actual spell, that's when you want to cancel it. Or cancel the animation. So how much damage I've actually dealt to it. Or it's on his last bar. Oh gosh. Boss. Oh boss. You tried. Dragon Killer 7. Ah! Right, maybe I can get it this time. One for good luck. Oh, double kill. And I guess I've cleared everything. Alright, yeah, so that was the first floor. I guess I'm gonna kill these guys that stand outside the door first. Get some extra loot, whatever's in the drop. Okay, look at the distance you can kill these things from. But yeah, that is those are all of the elemental spells at the moment. I don't know if they're gonna plan on adding. I don't know if they plan on adding any more later on. But for now, that is actually what they've added to the game. I will be doing the sword skills. I will be doing all the other different magics, the buffs, the healing, all that kind of stuff. I'll get into all of those. I'll show them. They're probably not going to be as long as this one because offensive magic usually takes a while. But I will be making those videos very soon, as well as the overviews of the different characters. If you do know anyone that is a fan of Sword Art Online or just a fan of Japanese games in general, then send them a link to this channel. Tell them to subscribe, share these videos, let people know. But until I make wow, I can't speak. But until I make my next video, I'll see you all later.